Rimuru x Arifureta. Fragments of Soul to be the Strongest by Rimu_Kai. Chapter 27 Volcano Labyrinth. The endless golden dunes of the desert stretched as far as the eye could see, the sun burning high in the sky, casting a shimmering haze over the land. The heat was relentless, yet Hajime's heavily modified vehicle roared through the sands like a beast, its reinforced wheels designed to handle even the harshest of terrains. Inside the vehicle, Hajime sat at the front, one hand steady on the wheel, the other occasionally adjusting controls on the dashboard. Yu sat beside him, her expression as serene as ever, golden eyes half-lidded as she leaned lightly against Hajime's shoulder. Shay was on his other side, her bunny ears twitching every now and then as she stared ahead. Behind them, Tio rested lazily, her arms crossed under her chest, pressing against her voluptuous figure. She let out a soft moan as the vehicle hit a small bump, her lips curling into a pleased smirk. "Ah, young master, must you be so rough?" she purred. Hajime didn't even glance back. "If you don't shut up, I'm tossing you out." Tio shivered. A punishment from young master. You know how to make a dragon excited." Rimuru, sitting beside her, sighed. "You really don't know how to shut up, huh?" Tio leaned toward him. "But master, surely you find pleasure in my words? You are a being of absolute dominance. Wouldn't you like to?" Not interested, Rimuru cut her off. On the other side, Shizuku sat comfortably, her arms wrapped around Rimuru's arm, her body pressed closely against his. A smug expression played on her lips as she nuzzled against him. "He's too busy with me anyway," she teased, eyes gleaming. Rimuru smirked. "Taking full advantage of Elena and Lilith not being here, huh?" Shizuku feigned innocence. "Who, me? No way." Shay turned back with a teasing grin. "I knew it. You've been waiting for a moment like this, haven't you?" Shizuku's smile didn't waver. "Of course. Can't waste a perfect opportunity." She pressed closer to Rimuru, her fingers running down his arm. "Maybe I should just claim him now while no one's here to stop me." Yu, ever calm, gave her a sharp look, shameless. Shay nodded in agreement. "Yup, but I kinda respect it." Rimuru chuckled. "You're playing dangerously, Shizuku." Shizuku smirked. "What can I say? I like danger." Hajime groaned. "Can we focus? We're heading toward a literal volcano, not a damn love hotel." Rimuru glanced at him. "You're just mad because you're stuck in the middle of your own harem war." Hajime scowled. "I refuse to acknowledge that." Yu, still clinging to Hajime, hummed, "You love me." Shay pouted. "And me too." Hajime sighed. Yeah, I know." Shay gasped dramatically. Did you just admit it? Hajime, you're growing as a person." Tio moaned again. "Ah, such beautiful romantic development. How thrilling. It makes my body burn hotter than dragon flames." "That's the heat from the damn volcano," Hajime deadpanned. Shay smirked. "No, I think she actually means what she's saying." Tio shivered. Young master, I love it when you act cold toward me." Rimuru shot Hajime a look. "You could just shoot her." Hajime sighed. "I've considered it. Many times." The endless dunes gave way to rocky terrain as the towering form of the Guryuan volcano loomed ahead. A column of black smoke billowed from its peak, the ground beneath them beginning to shift from soft sand to hardened, cracked stone. As the vehicle came to a stop near the base of the volcano, the heat grew almost unbearable, waves of searing air radiating off the molten landscape. Hajime stepped out first, adjusting his coat as he surveyed the surroundings. "Well, this is promising." Rimuru followed, stretching lazily. "Yeah, cool entrance." Hajime shot him a look. "That's not what I meant. If there's a huge door like this, it means whatever's inside is not gonna be fun." Before them stood a massive stone doorway, carved into the rocky surface of the volcano itself. Symbols of ancient magic glowed faintly across its surface, a clear indication that this was the entrance to the Guryuan labyrinth. Shizuku crossed her arms. "It does look a little ominous." Shay groaned, already wiping sweat from her forehead. I hate this place already. It's way too hot." Yu nodded. "Unpleasant." Tio, however, was, well, enjoying herself way too much. She let out another drawn-out moan, gripping her own body as if she were savoring the heat. "Ah, such an intense warmth." I feel as though my very soul is being set ablaze. Ah, master, young master, do you feel it too? This burning sensation deep inside. Hajime pinched the bridge of his nose. I swear to God, Tio. Rimuru sighed. We're about to step into a volcanic dungeon, and this is what you're focused on. Tio gasped dramatically. But of course, the environment, the danger. It only makes my heart race faster. Shizuku rolled her eyes. I really don't think that's the reason your heart is racing. Shay groaned. Can someone pour a bucket of ice water on her? You simply ignored Tio and turned toward Hajime. Ready. Hajime nodded. Let's do this. Rimuru smirked. Well then, let's see what this place has to offer. With that, Hajime stepped forward, placing a hand against the massive stone door. A pulse of magic ran through the entrance, and with a heavy grumble, the doors began to slide open, revealing a dimly lit corridor leading into the depths of the Guryuan labyrinth. A wave of intense heat washed over them as the doors fully opened. The air inside shimmered with the sheer temperature, the very walls seeming to glow faintly from the extreme heat. Shizuku groaned. It's even hotter in here than I expected. Shay whined. This sucks, I feel like I'm gonna melt. Tio, of course, let out another moan. Yes. Melt into pure pleasure, Mistress Shay. Shay's eye twitched. Tio, I swear, you sighed, hopeless. Hajime cracked his neck. Alright. Let's move before we all melt. And with that, they all stepped forward, vanishing into the fiery depths of the Guryuan labyrinth. The air inside the Guryuan labyrinth was thick with the stench of sulfur, the temperature soaring to levels that would have reduced an ordinary person to ash. The walls pulsed with molten veins of lava, glowing ominously as the group ventured deeper. Rivers of molten rock snaked through the cavernous pathways, sending waves of heat across the already stifling corridor. Shay wiped the sweat from her forehead, groaning. I hate this place. It's like walking inside an oven. Her pale skin nearly glistening under the dim, fiery glow, gave a simple nod. Unpleasant. Hajime adjusted his coat. Yeah, well, it's a volcano. What did you expect? Shay huffed. I dunno, maybe a little less, imminent death by melting. Meanwhile, Shizuku walked alongside Rimuru, looking completely unaffected by the heat. She had long since evolved into a dragonoid, and with that came complete resistance to extreme temperatures. Rimuru, of course, was just as unfazed. Hajime noticed this and raised a brow. Alright, seriously. How the hell are you two walking around like this as a spring afternoon? Shizuku smirked, wrapping an arm around Rimuru's. We evolved, remember. Fire and heat don't affect us anymore. Rimuru leaned in slightly, his smirk widening. You're just jealous, Hajime. We're built different. Hajime rolled his eyes. Yeah. Must be nice not feeling like your eyeballs are boiling. Shay groaned. It's not fair. Even Tio looks fine. And she's enjoying it way too much. As if on cue, Tio let out an ecstatic moan, pressing her hands against her body. Such an exquisite heat. My body feels as if it's being forged anew. Ah, this sensation. God, shut up. Hajime snapped, pinching the bridge of his nose. Tio merely licked her lips. Oh my, young master, I can't help it. The intensity of this environment, it's so stimulating. Do you not feel it, master? She turned to Rimuru, pressing closer to him with a sly smile. Rimuru sighed. Nope. Not interested. Tio gasped. Ah, to be so cold, so dominant. Master, don't tease me so. Hajime groaned. I swear, I'm gonna. Rimuru smirked. What? Shoot. Hajime's eyes narrowed. Yeah, actually. Without hesitation, Hajime raised his revolver and pulled the trigger. A high-caliber bullet zipped through the burning air straight at Rimuru's face, only for him to casually tilt his head and catch it between his teeth. The sound of metal crunching echoed as Rimuru bit down, shattering the bullet like candy. Silence. Shay's jaw dropped. Did he just? You blinked. Impressive. Shizuku, instead of being surprised, crossed her arms with a smug grin. Ha. That's my man. Hajime, still holding his gun, twitched. You just ate my bullet. Rimuru grinned. Tasty. Hajime took a deep breath. You absolute bastard. Shay burst out laughing. That was the coolest thing I've ever seen, Hajime. You got played so hard. Rimuru casually stretched. Well, I had to make a point. Hajime rubbed his temples. You're a menace. Tio let out another moan. Ah, master, that display of raw dominance. She shivered. Please do it again. Rimuru sighed. You're beyond help. As they continued deeper into the labyrinth, the air shimmered violently from the intense heat. The rivers of lava churned, bubbling ominously. Then, without warning, a massive fireball shot toward them. Yu stepped forward, raising her delicate hands. Black hole. A small, swirling void appeared in front of her, absorbing the incoming fireball effortlessly before collapsing in on itself. Rimuru blinked. Hey, that looks a lot like my Beelzebub. Yu nodded. A similar principle. It devours. Hajime crossed his arms. So, basically, you can just erase anything. Yu nodded again. If it's small. Shay shuddered. That's kinda scary. Shizuku smirked. I think it's hot. Rimuru chuckled. She gets it. Before they could continue their discussion, a loud, guttural roar echoed through the cavern. A monstrous figure emerged from the flowing lava, a creature made of molten rock and fire, its molten body shifting and dripping with every movement. Hajime grinned. Well, there's the first monster. He raised his gun, aiming at the beast. Wanna watch this? Before he could fire, Shay stepped forward, eyes gleaming with excitement. Hey, Hajime, can I take care of this one? Hajime smirked. Oh, want to test the new feature I added to your hammer? Shay nodded eagerly. Yeah. Hajime lowered his gun. Go for it. Shay gripped her massive hammer, channeling her mana into it. A faint glow surrounded the weapon as its power surged. The heat in the air seemed to swirl around it as she prepared her strike. The lava monster roared, lunging toward her. Shay grinned. Too slow. With a single, earth-shattering swing, she brought her hammer down. The impact sent a shockwave rippling through the area, the sheer force causing the ground to crack beneath her feet. The monster didn't stand a chance. It exploded into a burst of molten fragments, its body completely obliterated by the raw power of her enhanced hammer. Shay stepped back, blinking. Oh, wow. Hajime whistled. Damn, that worked even better than I expected. Shay stared at her weapon. That was kinda scary, but also really cool. Shizuku smirked. That's why we have you on our team. Yu nodded. Strong. Tio moaned. Ah, Mistress Shay's display of raw power. Young master, are you not aroused? Hajime groaned. Tio, shut up. As they continued their descent deeper into the labyrinth, Hajime turned toward Rimuru and Shizuku. So, how the hell are you two still fine in this heat? Shizuku chuckled. Told you, we evolved. Rimuru smirked. Yeah, but it's not just about being fireproof. It's about being superior. Hajime scoffed. Oh, shut up. Shay grinned. You jealous, Hajime? Hajime sighed. You have no idea. Tio purred. Ah, young master, you can always evolve in another way, I would be more than happy to. No. Hajime deadpanned. Shizuku laughed. Well, I don't mind the heat, but I do miss the cool breeze outside. Rimuru nodded. Agreed. This place is suffocating. You, ever calm, added, then we should hurry. Hajime cracked his knuckles. Yeah, let's get this over with. As the group ventured deeper into the burning labyrinth, the air grew heavier, the challenges ahead waiting for them. The sweltering heat of the Guryuan labyrinth showed no signs of letting up as the group trudged forward. The walls pulsed with a deep red glow, veins of molten rock crawling through the cavernous structure like a living, breathing entity. The oppressive atmosphere had long since drained the energy from anyone lacking resistance to extreme temperatures. Shay groaned dramatically, dragging her feet. I think my brain is melting. Her usually stoic expression slightly flushed from the heat, nodded solemnly. Same, I feel enlightened. Shay blinked at her. Huh. Yu stared at the ceiling as if she had just discovered the meaning of life. What if fire isn't hot, but everything else is just cold? Shay gasped, eyes widening. That makes so much sense. Maybe lava isn't really lava. It's just spicy water. A long silence followed. Hajime, walking ahead, twitched. What the hell are you two talking about? Rimuru snorted, shaking his head. This heat is frying their brains. Shizuku sighed, rubbing her temples. They're too far gone. Tio hummed playfully. But isn't it fascinating? Perhaps we are the ones who are incorrect about reality. Hajime pinched the bridge of his nose. Not you too, Tio. Rimuru glanced at the two girls still muttering absolute nonsense and smirked. Alright, let's take a break before you and Shay start questioning the existence of gravity. Hajime nodded, raising his hand. A bright transmutation circle spread across the nearby wall as he reshaped the rock, carving out a large resting space. Once finished, the group stepped inside, and Hajime sealed the entrance behind them. You, Hajime said, glancing at the vampire girl, make something cold. You, still looking half delirious, simply nodded. As you wish. With a flick of her wrist, a massive block of ice materialized in the center of the space. Instantly, the temperature dropped, the cool air spreading relief throughout the group. Shay sighed, flopping onto the floor. Oh, this is heaven. Tio, however, was far from satisfied. She pressed a hand to her chest, shivering slightly. Oh my, young master, this sudden chill, it makes my body feel so tingly. Hajime shot her a glare. Tio. No. Rimuru smirked. Tio, if you keep that up, Hajime might actually shoot you. Tio moaned, wrapping her arms around herself. Oh, master, if he does, please comfort me afterward. Shizuku rolled her eyes. She's beyond saving. Meanwhile, Tio used wind magic, sending a gentle breeze throughout the space. Hajime sighed in relief before gesturing to the others. All right, wipe off your sweat and relax. As the group settled in, Tio, shockingly not in perverted mode, spoke up. Young master, I've been thinking, what exactly is the purpose of this labyrinth? Hajime frowned. Huh, what do you mean? Tio tapped her chin. The Orcus labyrinth was meant to test combat ability, and Milady's labyrinth forced us to rely on physical strength just as much as magic. But this one, it's all about heat and ambush tactics. What do you think the real lesson is? Hajime leaned back. Interesting thought. He glanced at Shay, who was wiping sweat off her chest, seemingly unaware that she was practically presenting herself to him. His eye twitched. He turned away quickly, only for his gaze to land on you. The vampire was also wiping herself down, her eyes catching his as she smirked. What? Wanna wipe me down? Shay pouted. Unfair. You gets all the good teasing lines. Tio grinned. Mistress Yu, if young master doesn't do it, I certainly can. Hajime groaned. I'm surrounded by idiots. Meanwhile, Shizuku, without hesitation, sat herself onto Rimuru's lap. Rimuru chuckled, wrapping his arms around her waist, pulling her closer. Comfortable. Shizuku smirked. Very. Yu's eye twitched. Shay puffed up her cheeks. Hajime's gaze flickered to the two, feeling their jealousy radiate like a furnace. Yu huffed. Hajime. Why don't you act like that? Hajime blinked. Huh. Shay crossed her arms. Yeah, Rimuru's all affectionate with Shizuku, but you don't do anything like that with us. Rimuru smirked, resting his chin on Shizuku's shoulder. Jealous much? Yu narrowed her eyes. Yes. Hajime sighed. This again. Shay pouted harder. You're too reserved, Hajime. You love us, but you never show it. Shizuku grinned, tilting her head. Maybe he's just shy. Hajime scoffed. I'm not shy. Rimuru smirked. You kinda are. Hajime glared. Oh, shut up. The argument continued, mostly consisting of Rimuru teasing Hajime while Yu and Shay complained about his lack of affection. Tio, as usual, added unnecessary moaning every time someone said anything remotely suggestive. Eventually, Hajime stood up, dusting himself off. All right, let's go before I lose my mind. The others nodded, and Hajime opened the transmuted door, only to immediately stop. A horde of lava monsters stood outside, their molten bodies crackling, eyes glowing with intense heat. For a moment, no one spoke. Then, before anyone could react, Shizuku sighed, stepping forward. I got this. In an instant, she vanished. The moment she reappeared in the center of the monsters, every single one of them was already dead. Their bodies collapsed into chunks of stone, the heat from their corpses fading. Silence. Shay's jaw dropped. Huh? Yu blinked, fast. Tio pouted. Mistress Shizuku, you must teach me such deadly elegance. Hajime sighed. Of course. She's been getting ridiculous ever since she evolved. Rimuru smirked, walking up to her. You're getting scary, you know that? Shizuku grinned. You like it? Rimuru chuckled. Oh, definitely. Yu and Shay glared. Hajime sighed, rubbing his temples. We're moving. With that, the group pressed forward, deeper into the infernal depths of the labyrinth, the heat intensifying once again. But as they walked, Yu and Shay exchanged glances, then smirked. If Hajime wasn't going to be affectionate by himself, they'd just have to force him to be. And with that thought, they continued their journey. The group stepped into a cavernous cove, their eyes widening in shock at the sight before them. Glowing crimson veins of heat pulsed through the walls, illuminating a vast chamber filled with massive red stones embedded deep into the ground and walls. At first glance, it seemed like ordinary ore, but as they watched, shimmering liquid began to seep from the stone, dripping onto the scorched ground. The moment the liquid touched the surface, it vanished, evaporating instantly due to the sheer heat of the environment. However, more continued to flow, endlessly generating what should have been an impossibility. Hajime's eyes sharpened. This is red mithril stone. Shay's ears twitched. Wait, like the one you used to make holy water. Yu narrowed her eyes, staring at the glowing liquid that vanished before their eyes. But it's turning into mithril water instead. Tio gasped, her golden eyes gleaming. This is most fascinating. To think such a thing exists. Young Master Rimuru, do you realize what this means? Shizuku, arms crossed, shook her head in disbelief. This amount of red mithril in one place, it's absurd. Hajime smirked. Well, since it keeps generating mithril water, we might as well mine some of the stone. This stuff could be insanely valuable. Especially for Enkaji people. But before he could move, Rimuru raised his hand lazily. No need. Everyone turned to him, confused. Hajime narrowed his eyes. And why's that? Rimuru simply smirked and extended his palm. Beelzebub. A swirling vortex of darkness erupted from his hand, expanding rapidly. In an instant, the abyssal force swallowed nearly half of the red mithril stone in the chamber, consuming it effortlessly before retracting back into his body. Silence. Shay's ears flopped down as she blinked. What? Tio gasped, pressing a hand to her flushed cheek. Oh my. Master Rimuru, that was simply divine. To consume so much so easily, such overwhelming dominance, I can hardly contain myself. Hajime clenched his jaw, sighing. Tio. Shut the hell up. Shizuku sighed, looking at Rimuru with an arched brow. You could have warned us first. Rimuru chuckled, brushing a strand of white hair from his face. Where's the fun in that? Yu tilted her head. What did you do? Rimuru smirked. Stored it inside. Beelzebub doesn't just erase things. I can choose to store whatever I consume for later use. He flexed his fingers. So now, I have a stockpile of red mithril stone ready whenever I need it. Hajime exhaled through his nose. That's ridiculous. Shay pouted. That's cheating. Rimuru only smirked. Not my fault you guys mine like peasants. Shizuku elbowed him lightly, rolling her eyes. Arrogant as always. With the matter settled, the group pressed forward. After some time, they arrived at the edge of a massive, flowing lava river. The molten stream bubbled and hissed, the extreme heat warping the air around it. The path forward was completely cut off, there was no visible way across. Shay whistled. Well, that's a problem. Yu frowned. We can't fly. The heat and updrafts are too unstable. Tio hummed playfully. It appears we need a strong, sturdy vessel to ride the waves of this infernal sea. Oh, young master, to travel upon molten heat, it excites me in ways I can barely describe. Hajime scowled. Tio moaned dramatically, clutching her chest. Oh, such rejection. It only fuels my yearning. Shizuku sighed. Someone push her into the lava. Rimuru smirked. Tempting. Ignoring the chaos behind him, Hajime knelt down, placing his hands on the stone floor. A surge of mana pulsed outward as a bright transmutation circle formed beneath him. Within moments, a sleek, obsidian boat took shape, hovering just above the lava. The heat-resistant structure radiated a faint glow, reinforced to withstand the molten currents. Hajime stood up, dusting off his hands. All right, get in. One by one, they climbed aboard, taking seats on the sturdy vessel. As Hajime activated the propulsion system, the boat glided smoothly onto the lava, carefully navigating the fiery river. Tio sighed in delight. How thrilling. The thought of sinking into the searing depths, oh, the tension excites me so. Hajime deadpanned. Shut up before I throw you overboard. Tio pouted. So cruel, young master. Meanwhile, Rimuru sat at the back of the boat, casually leaning against the railing. Shizuku, however, made her way over and plopped down right next to him, resting her head on his shoulder. Rimuru smirked. Getting comfortable. Shizuku hummed. The boat's nice and all, but this is better. Shay groaned. Seriously? Right in front of us? Yu narrowed her eyes. Annoying. Shizuku smirked. Jealous. Yu huffed, turning away. Rimuru chuckled and wrapped an arm around Shizuku's waist, pulling her closer. I think they are. Shizuku sighed, melting into his embrace. I could fall asleep like this. Shay flailed her arms. Why do you two get to be all lovey-dovey while we? Yu, without hesitation, climbed into Hajime's lap. Hajime choked. Wah. Yu smirked. Fair is fair. Hajime groaned. You're unbelievable. Tio giggled. Mistress Yu, do be gentle with young master. He's quite fragile when it comes to affection. Shay pouted harder. Hajime, if Yu gets to sit in your lap, then I should too. Hajime sighed, but before he could protest, Shay clung to him from behind, wrapping her arms around his shoulders. Shizuku smirked at Rimuru. Looks like you're not the only one getting love today. Rimuru chuckled. About time. As the boat continued through the lava river, the air filled with playful banter, teasing remarks, and, of course, Tio's never-ending perversion. But despite the heat, the dangers ahead, and the challenges still waiting for them, one thing was certain, this chaotic group wouldn't have it any other way. And so, they pressed forward, deeper into the Guryuan labyrinth. The boat floated steadily over the lava river, the intense heat radiating in waves, making the air shimmer like a mirage. The group sat in tense silence, occasionally shifting as the molten rock below bubbled ominously. This place is hell, Shay muttered, fanning herself. I can't believe someone made a dungeon like this. I bet someone like Milady laughing at us from somewhere, Hajime grumbled, scanning ahead. Well, Milady was a lunatic, Rimuru remarked lazily, leaning back with a smirk. This whole labyrinth reeks of her like eccentricity. Indeed, Tio agreed, sighing. Though, the intensity of this heat reminds me of a dragon's breath. Ah, it stirs nostalgic feelings within me. Don't even start, Tio, Hajime warned, sensing her tone. Tio pouted but nodded, remaining uncharacteristically restrained for once. Then, her expression turned serious as she focused ahead. There is a lava fall up ahead, she said. Everyone's eyes widened as they looked forward. A massive, roaring waterfall of molten lava stretched across their path, cascading like a crimson curtain into an abyss. The river was pulling them straight toward it. What kind of sick joke? Shay yelped. Turn the boat, Hajime. Yu ordered, her usual calm voice laced with urgency. No can do, Yu, Hajime gritted his teeth. We're moving too fast. The flow is too strong. Well, this is going to be fun, Rimuru mused, smirking while leaning on Shizuku. Rimuru, this is not the time to enjoy yourself. Shizuku snapped. Relax. If we die together, he teased. Oh shut up. The boat's going down, Hajime shouted. Listen up. When we get close, jump onto the lava pillars. They should be solid enough to hold our weight. What? Shay shrieked. We have to jump on those. No choice. Hajime barked. The moment the boat reached the edge, they all leapt. Yu, Shay, Tio, and Shizuku landed on one stone pillar while Hajime and Rimuru landed on another. Ha, ha, I hate this place, Shay wheezed. Good job, everyone, Hajime sighed, stabilizing himself. Rimuru chuckled. That was fun. Hajime, you should consider making a roller coaster next time. Shut it, Rimuru. Oh, did I hit a nerve? Shay smirked. Hey, how about this? If we survive, Rimuru treats everyone. Why me? Rimuru raised an eyebrow. Oh, are you saying you don't want to treat us? Yu smirked. TCH. Clever. Shizuku chuckled beside him, placing a hand on his shoulder. I'll pay you up if you treat me nicely later. You always know how to negotiate, don't you? Rimuru murmured, leaning closer. Shizuku's face turned slightly red, but she smirked. Naturally. Before they could continue, the lava in front of them began to churn violently. From the bubbling inferno, 10 massive snake-like monsters emerged, their bodies composed of molten rock and burning flames. "Oh, come on," Hajime groaned. "TCH, this just keeps getting worse," you muttered. Shay's eyes gleamed mischievously. "All right, listen up. Whoever kills the most lava snakes gets a date with Hajime." Shizuku sighed and sat down on a nearby rock. "I'll just watch." "Go ahead." The reactions were immediate. Challenge accepted. Tio grinned, fire burning in her eyes. Yu remained silent but smirked as lightning crackled around her. Shay swung Drucken onto her shoulder. "Time to win my date." Hajime's face darkened. "Oi, you guys are using this as motivation." Rimuru and Shizuku exchanged glances before Rimuru smirked. "This is entertaining. Let's watch." Shizuku leaned against Rimuru's shoulder. "Agreed." Yu raised her hand, summoning an enormous lightning serpent that coiled and struck 3 lava snakes at once, electrocuting them into submission before they exploded. Shay charged forward, leaping high into the air before bringing Drucken down with a powerful boom. The impact sent shockwaves rippling through the battlefield, smashing one snake's skull. Tio conjured massive fireballs in both hands, hurling them like a dragon's breath. "Burn, my pitiful enemies." She let out a sultry moan. "Ah, such excitement, my body tingles in anticipation, Master Rimuru. Can you not get turned on in the middle of battle?" Hajime snapped as he fired his gun, blasting the heads off 2 snakes with pinpoint accuracy. Meanwhile, Rimuru and Shizuku sat comfortably, watching the chaos unfold. "You sure you don't want to fight, Rimuru?" Shizuku teased. "I have more fun watching you guys struggle," Rimuru smirked. "Besides, I have you here keeping me company." Shizuku rolled her eyes but smiled. Soon, the last snake fell, electrocuted by Yu's lightning. "Looks like I won," Yu stated, flipping her hair. "TCH, I was so close." Shay pouted. Shizuku sighed. "Well, now that's over, let's move on." The group glanced toward the center of the lava lake, where a strange structure loomed, a gateway leading to the final chamber. "That's it," Hajime confirmed. "That's the last room." Finally, Shay groaned. Tio smirked. "Oh my, perhaps we shall receive another gift from the Age of God's magic, or perhaps, Master Rimuru, would you bestow your own reward upon your devoted servant?" "Not happening." "Ha, such cruelty." Hajime ignored her. "Let's get moving." They prepared to advance when suddenly, the lava surged violently once more. A chorus of hisses echoed across the chamber. Everyone turned to see dozens of lava snakes emerging from the molten depths, their glowing eyes locking onto them. Hajime's face twisted in disbelief. "Oh, come on." The lava churned violently as the monstrous lava snakes slithered out, their molten bodies pulsing with raw heat. Their glowing eyes locked onto the group, fangs dripping with burning magma. "Oh, for the love of," Hajime groaned, snapping Donner into position. "This place just doesn't quit." Shay twirled Drucken in her grip, her bunny ears twitching. "All right, if we're doing this again, I'm definitely winning this time." Yu's crimson eyes gleamed dangerously as she raised her hand, gathering dark lightning at her fingertips. "Let's end this quickly." Tio stretched lazily, a pleased smirk forming on her lips. "Ah, young master, Master Rimuru, shall I demonstrate my fiery passion?" She moaned shamelessly, pressing her hands to her cheeks. "Ah, I can feel the heat seeping into my body." "Shut up and start blasting," Hajime snapped, already firing precise rounds. "Yufufu, as you command, young master," Tio purred before casually tossing a massive fireball at a group of lava snakes. The explosion scattered burning rock everywhere, forcing Hajime and the others to dodge. Meanwhile, Yu took a step forward, her mana surging. She whispered, "Gravity." A powerful force crushed the battlefield, several lava snakes collapsing under the immense pressure. Their molten bodies cracked, unable to withstand the sheer weight pressing down on them. Yu then followed up with a chain of fire lightning, striking multiple enemies at once. Shay wasn't about to be left behind. "Ha!" She swung Drucken, sending a powerful shockwave through the air. The impact shattered a snake's body, sending fiery debris in all directions. One down, a bunch more to go. The battle raged on, explosions lighting up the cavern as lava splashed violently around them. Hajime dodged a molten strike, countering with precise headshots. Yu's gravity magic crushed another batch, and Shei's hammer swings sent enemies flying into the lava. Tio, despite her teasing, was effortlessly launching powerful fireballs, reducing enemies to molten slag. Amidst the chaos, Shei's eyes caught something. In the center of the battlefield, embedded in the floating structure over the lava, were glowing crystals. She noticed one of them cracking as a snake fell. Hajime! Everyone, look over there, Shei shouted, pointing. They turned their gaze toward the floating structure. The crystals, Yu murmured. Shei grinned. Whenever a snake dies, a crystal breaks, that must mean. That's their numbers, Hajime finished, his mind immediately processing the situation. How many are left? Shei counted quickly. 20. Hajime gritted his teeth. Damn it, this is going to take too long at this rate. A sigh broke through the tension. Rimuru, who had been lounging against a nearby pillar, finally stood up. His black sleeveless shirt barely seemed affected by the heat, his expression unreadable. Shizuku turned to him. Rimuru. He stretched his neck casually, cracking his joints. Guess I should wrap this up. It's getting boring. Shizuku crossed her arms. Oh, you're finally joining in. He smirked at her. Of course. Can't let you guys have all the fun. She shook her head with a small smile. Go ahead. Hajime, Yu, Shei, and Tio leapt onto Shizuku's pillar while Rimuru stepped forward. His gaze swept over the battlefield as he sighed. You guys are annoying. A katana materialized in his grip, its dark blade pulsing with void-like energy. The moment he moved, the battlefield shifted. Rimuru vanished. The next second, an overwhelming shockwave tore through the battlefield. A single slash. Silence. Then, a deafening explosion erupted as every single remaining lava snake, 30 in total, was obliterated. Their molten bodies shattered as Rimuru's attack erased them from existence. The lava itself seemed to ripple in fear, the cavern trembling from the sheer force of the attack. Hajime's eyes widened in disbelief. You, he stormed over, grabbing Rimuru by the collar. Why the hell didn't you help earlier? Rimuru raised an eyebrow. Because Shei, Yu, and Tio were competing for a date with you. Didn't want to interfere. Hajime twitched. You, tch. Whatever. He let go, rubbing his temples in frustration. Shei, Yu, and Tio had mixed reactions. Shei pouted. Hey, if we knew you were going to just end it in one move, we wouldn't have worked so hard. Yu smirked, though there was a tinge of irritation in her eyes. HMPH. Tio, meanwhile, was practically melting. Ah, Master Rimuru, your power is simply divine. The way you wield your blade, so commanding, so dominant. Ah, punish me, Master. Rimuru sighed. Not happening. Suddenly, Azra's voice echoed in Rimuru's mind. A powerful attack is incoming. What? Rimuru muttered, turning toward Hajime. But before either could react. Boom. A surge of azure flames descended from above, crashing into them with cataclysmic force. The shockwave sent Hajime and Rimuru flying, slamming them into the nearest rock formation. The intense blue fire burned hotter than anything in the labyrinth, even the lava itself. Shizuku gasped. Rimuru. Yu's usually calm face twisted in horror. Hajime. Shei's heart pounded. No way, what was that? Tio's expression darkened, her perverted nature vanishing. Young Master. Master Rimuru. The smoke from the impact cleared, revealing the destruction left in its wake. The entire battlefield was now coated in blue flames, the temperature rising to unbearable levels. A monstrous, echoing laugh filled the air. A shadow loomed above them. The real enemy had arrived. The battlefield was silent, save for the flickering of the eerie blue flames still crackling around them. Shizuku rushed forward, her eyes filled with worry. Rimuru. She dropped to her knees beside him, her hands hovering hesitantly before cupping his face. Are you okay? That was a direct hit. Her voice wavered, betraying her fear. On the other side, Yu, Shei, and Tio ran to Hajime. Hajime. Yu's usually impassive face twisted in alarm as she knelt beside him, her small hands pressing against his chest. You're not hurt. Shei, her blue eyes shimmering with concern, inspected him frantically. That was a dragon's breath. It was stronger than anything we've faced so far. Tio, for once, wasn't making inappropriate comments. Her golden eyes were sharp, filled with genuine concern as she ran her hands along his arms and torso, checking for wounds. Young master, are you truly unscathed? She asked, biting her lip. Hajime, seeing the way they looked at him, sighed. I'm fine. He flexed his fingers, showing them his mostly intact body. His only damage was some charred fabric. Damn, my clothes got messed up again, he grumbled. Yu sighed in relief, resting her forehead against his. Shay, however, puffed her cheeks. Ah, you always act so cool, but do you know how worried we were? Fufu, indeed, young master, I was prepared to offer myself to you if it meant easing your pain, Tio added, her perverted tendencies already returning. She crossed her arms under her ample chest and sighed dramatically. Ah, but I see your body remains as perfect as ever. Hajime's eyebrow twitched. That didn't take long. Meanwhile, Rimuru exhaled through his nose, utterly unfazed. Shizuku, you're acting like I'm fragile. His lips curved into an arrogant smirk as he tilted his head. Did you forget who I am? Shizuku narrowed her eyes at him, her lips pressing into a thin line before she flicked his forehead. Idiot. Rimuru blinked. Huh, you scared me, dumbass. She huffed, crossing her arms. What if that attack actually did something to you? He chuckled, brushing off imaginary dust from his shoulder. Please. A dragon's breath. I've survived worse. A booming laugh interrupted them. Ha 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 ha. So this is the feared demon lord. Pathetic. One little dragon breath and he drops. The owner of the voice loomed above them, a man with flowing crimson hair, clad in ornate black and red armor. His eyes gleamed with amusement as he gazed down at them from atop a massive white dragon. Shizuku's eyes sharpened, her hand gripping her katana instinctively. The man continued, a sneer curling his lips. I knew it. That dragon woman was a liar after all. Rimuru's golden eyes flickered toward him lazily. Oi, redhead. Laugh any louder and I might get annoyed. The man's chuckle died instantly. His eyes snapped down, now seeing Hajime and Rimuru standing completely unharmed. Hajime's gaze was cold as he dusted off his tattered coat. His body, thanks to his infinite regeneration, had already recovered completely. As for Rimuru, he didn't even have a scratch. He hadn't even needed regeneration. The man, freed, stiffened. Impossible. You took a direct hit from Atzel's breath, he muttered, his voice laced with disbelief. Behind him, more dragons emerged, their wings spreading wide. Dozens of dragon riders floated in the air, their spears gleaming under the magma's glow. Rimuru twirled his katana, letting a drop of dragon blood slide down the blade before flicking it off. You seem surprised. His smirk widened. What, you thought we'd die that easily? Hajime casually aimed Donner at Freed's forehead. Before you start your whole villain speech, mind introducing yourself before you die. Freed's expression darkened. Fine then. He straightened his posture, his eyes gleaming with arrogance. I am Freed Bagua, Supreme Commander of the Demon Army. His lips curled into a cruel smile. And I am here to kill all of you. His words were punctuated by the roars of the dragons behind him. Their auras flared menacingly, their massive bodies casting terrifying shadows across the cavern. Hajime clicked his tongue. TCH. What a pain. Rimuru yawned. Yeah. So, are you going to do something, or should we just kill you now? Freed's eye twitched in fury. Insolent brats. He raised his hand, and the dragon riders prepared their spears. Kill them all. The dragons roared, flames gathering in their mouths as the riders charged. Stay back, Hajime ordered, stepping forward. Leave this to us, Rimuru added, his tone dripping with confidence. Shizuku's grip on her katana tightened. Rimuru. Don't worry, he said without looking back. His voice was laced with arrogance, but there was also an unmistakable warmth in it. I got this. Yu bit her lip, her eyes locked onto Hajime's back. Be careful. She clenched her fists. You better not die, Hajime. Tio, her perverted nature still present despite the situation, moaned softly. Ah, to watch my masters take on an army of dragons, such a thrilling sight. Ah, it makes me want to bear their children. Shut up, Tio. Hajime and Rimuru snapped in unison. Then, boom, the battle erupted. Hajime flicked his wrist, summoning 4 massive cross-shaped shields. They hovered in the air, forming an impenetrable barrier around him. Any attack that came his way was instantly blocked or reflected. Rimuru. He didn't bother dodging. A dragon's breath surged toward him, and he simply raised a finger. The moment it got close. Snap. The breath attack dispersed into nothingness. Fried's eyes widened in horror. What? Rimuru grinned. Oh, were you expecting that to work? Hajime, already moving, fired a barrage of bullets into the sky. Each shot curved mid-air, homing in on the dragon riders with deadly precision. Atzel, the white dragon, lunged forward with its jaws open wide. Rimuru flicked his katana. Slick. A single slash. And Atzel's throat was torn open. The mighty dragon fell, its life drained in an instant. Fried barely managed to jump onto another dragon, his face contorted with rage. You bastard. Rimuru pointed his blade at him, his crimson eyes gleaming with amusement. You mad? Fried's hands clenched into fists. Kill them all. The remaining dragons and riders descended upon them. Rimuru sighed. Guess it's time to clean up. Hajime smirked. Let's get to work. The battlefield was about to be painted in blood. The battlefield burned with the embers of fallen dragons. Smoke and molten rock crackled around them, but neither Rimuru nor Hajime looked the least bit concerned. Fried's forces, over 100 dragon riders strong, surrounded them, their spears glinting in the fiery glow. The remaining dragons roared, their wings beating like thunder, shaking the cavern. Fried sneered, regaining his composure. Fools. Even if you survived Atzel's breath, do you really think you can defeat an army? He raised his hand. Kill them. A storm of dragons and warriors charged forward. Hajime exhaled, spinning Donner between his fingers. TCH. Annoying. Rimuru sighed, lazily resting his katana on his shoulder. This is going to be over in seconds. The first wave descended. Boom. Hajime's railgun fired, obliterating 3 dragons mid-flight. Their riders screamed as their charred bodies plummeted to the molten ground. Rimuru moved like a phantom, his blade flashing. Schlick. In a blink, 5 dragon riders were bisected, their blood painting the cavern. One soldier barely had time to scream before Hajime's second shot tore through his chest, leaving a gaping hole. More dragons unleashed their breath attacks, but Hajime's shields activated automatically, deflecting the flames back at them, incinerating them in their own inferno. Rimuru yawned, raising a single hand. Void King Beelzebub. A black hole materialized, pulling in 5 dragons at once. Their bodies twisted and contorted before they were erased from existence. Fried watched in horror. No, impossible. Pathetic, Hajime muttered, unloading another round. Rimuru chuckled darkly, slicing another dragon in half. This was supposed to be an army. Within 3 minutes, only Fried and his last dragon remained. Fried's face was pale, sweat dripping down his temple. This isn't possible. Hajime and Rimuru both pointed their weapons at him. Donner aimed at his forehead, Rimuru's katana gleaming under the flames. Rimuru smirked. How about now? Still wanna fight? Fried gritted his teeth. So that woman wasn't completely lying after all. He exhaled, his fury shifting into something cold. Fine. I had hoped to save this technique for my strongest enemies, but in this case, it seems you are my greatest foes. His hands weaved a complex pattern in the air. Dark energy gathered, condensing into a powerful spell. Not happening, Hajime said, pulling the trigger. Bang! The bullet shot toward Fried's skull. Clang! A barrier appeared just in time, stopping it. Che! Hajime clicked his tongue. Figures. Suddenly, Fried and his dragon vanished. Behind you. Shizuku and Shay screamed. Whoosh! Fried's sword slashed. But it hit nothing. Rimuru was gone. Fried's eyes widened. Wah! Where? Yo! A whisper brushed his ear. Fried barely turned before. Schlick! Pain exploded in his right arm. His hand was gone. Blood spurted violently as Fried stared in horror at the severed limb. Rimuru stood next to Hajime, holding Fried's hand like a souvenir. Hey, dude, Rimuru smirked, holding the hand up. You want this back? Fried's eyes flared with rage. You damn. Plop. Rimuru dropped the hand into the lava. It sizzled. Oops. Rimuru's smirk widened. Dropped it. Fried's entire body shook with fury, his remaining fist clenched. His breathing was ragged, eyes filled with pure hatred. You bastards, his voice trembled with rage. Hajime blew on his gun. Next time, try bringing an actual challenge. Rimuru tilted his head. I almost feel bad for you. Almost. Fried growled, stepping backward, his dragon flapping its wings. I'll take revenge for this, you bastards. And with that, he vanished. Hajime sighed, holstering Donner. Well, that was fun. Rimuru stretched, rolling his shoulders. Meh, I was hoping for more. As the battlefield fell silent, Shizuku walked up to Rimuru, her seductive gaze locking onto him. Rimuru, her voice was low, almost sultry. Before he could react, she leaned in close, her breath hot against his ear. You looked so cool back there, she whispered. Rimuru smirked. Oh, did it turn you on? Shizuku flushed, but instead of pulling away, she dragged a finger down his chest. Maybe, she purred. Hajime groaned. Not this again. She pouted. No fair. Shizuku's stealing the spotlight with Rimuru. Tio moaned, her face red with arousal. Ah, such raw dominance from both my masters. My body shivers in excitement. Hajime immediately turned away. I'm done. Tio shuddered, gripping herself. Ah, punish me, young master. Please, I beg you. Step on me. Choke me. Make me your obedient dragon. Hajime deadpanned. Tio, shut up. Rimuru sighed dramatically. She's your dragon. Hajime scowled. She's your slave too. Rimuru smirked. I know. And I enjoy watching you suffer. Shizuku giggled. Sadist. Rimuru chuckled. Only with you, sweetheart. She puffed her cheeks. Ah, this flirting is getting out of hand. Tio moaned again. Ah, but my masters are so wonderful. So powerful. Ah, the thought of bearing your children fills me with ecstasy. Hajime facepalmed. Can someone kill her already? Rimuru smirked. Sorry, Hajime. I kinda like her. Tio's eyes sparkled. Ah, Master Rimuru, I knew you loved me. Rimuru sighed, patting her head like a dog. Sure, whatever makes you happy. Tio squealed in pleasure. Ah, pet me more, master. Harder. Hajime groaned. I give up. She pouted. I'm still mad we didn't get a proper romantic moment after the battle. Hajime smirked. What, you want me to sweep you off your feet and kiss you? She turned beet red. Why you idiot. That's too much. Rimuru leaned toward Shizuku, his voice playful. Should I show him how it's done? Shizuku licked her lips. Try me. Hajime rubbed his temples. We just survived a battle. Can we not turn this into a damn romance novel? Tio moaned again. Ah, but young master, the battlefield is the perfect place for passionate love-making. Hajime sighed. I am going to shoot you. Rimuru grinned. This was a fun fight. Shizuku smirked. And fun after. She pouted. HMPH. Tio moaned. Ah. Hajime groaned. Let's just go already. And with that, they left the battlefield, Fried's rage burning in the distance. The molten river crackled beneath their feet, the air thick with the scent of sulfur and charred stone. Hajime and Rimuru led the group through the treacherous structure of blackened rock, glowing veins of lava running through the ground like an ominous heartbeat. The fight with Fried was behind them, but the dungeon was not done testing them yet. She wiped sweat from her forehead, adjusting her battle-worn outfit. Ah, this place is so hot. I feel like I'm melting. You, standing beside Hajime, remained unfazed by the heat, her golden eyes flickering like embers. If you're struggling now, how do you plan to survive another battle? She groaned. That's different. Fighting is one thing, but walking through this oven is torture. Rimuru, walking casually beside Shizuku, smirked. Need me to carry you, rabbit? She pouted. No way. If I let you do that, you'll just tease me. Obviously. Rimuru chuckled. Shizuku sighed, rolling her eyes. Rimuru, you really can't help yourself, can you? He leaned toward her, whispering in her ear, his voice laced with amusement. And you love it. Shizuku's face turned red, but she huffed, looking away. TCH. Shut up. Hajime clicked his tongue. We're almost at the end. Save the flirting for later. Ahead, a massive stone door stood, intricate carvings glowing faintly. The swirling runes depicted a magic circle, radiating an ancient power. Hajime narrowed his eyes. Looks like this is it. He and Yu stepped forward, standing in the center of the circle. As soon as they did, the symbols glowed brighter, and a pulse of magic surged through them. Yu closed her eyes, absorbing the energy. A spell, she murmured. It's space-related. Hajime nodded, processing the knowledge flowing into him. TCH. A spatial control spell. Figures. That's how that bastard Freed was teleporting around. Yu glanced at Rimuru. Is it similar to what you use? Rimuru crossed his arms, tilting his head. Not really. My teleportation is more complex. Hajime groaned. Of course it is. I don't even want to try and understand it. Shay pouted. I got it too. But this is so weird, I don't know how I feel about teleporting around. Hajime sighed. Rimuru, get in and get the spell already. Rimuru and Shizuku stepped into the circle. It glowed again, and the knowledge of the spell rushed into their minds. Rimuru let out a dramatic sigh. Hajime narrowed his eyes. Don't you dare tell me you already had this spell. Rimuru smirked. Well, I didn't have this exact one. Hajime let out a relieved sigh. Thank God, but... Hajime's eye twitched. Oh, for foo. I have a far stronger version of it. Shizuku stared at him. Of course you do. Shay crossed her arms. Why am I not surprised? Yu simply nodded. Expected. Tio moaned, rubbing her thighs together. Ah, as expected of Master Rimuru. To be so overwhelmingly superior in all things, such dominance, my body shivers in pure ecstasy. Hajime ignored her. TCH. Whatever. Let's move on. Suddenly, glowing text appeared on the wall, burning into the stone like a message from the abyss. This is my prey. Live freely. Rimuru tilted his head. Short and simple. Gotta respect the efficiency. Shay frowned. Pray, is the dungeon master saying we're free to leave? Yu nodded. Most likely. Hajime exhaled. That's another labyrinth conquered, then. The wall beside them rumbled before splitting open, revealing a pedestal. On it rested a long, ornate necklace. Yu stepped forward, carefully picking it up. Hajime smirked. Looks like more proof that we've beaten this place. Shay grinned. Another treasure to add to the collection. Tio moaned. Ah, my masters continue to conquer and dominate, such power, such raw, untamed strength. Rimuru sighed. Tio, do you have a switch to turn off the perversion? Tio pressed her hands to her chest, shuddering. Ah, if Master commands it, I shall do my best to suppress my burning desires, but my body, my soul, my very essence, yearns for your command. Hajime looked ready to shoot her. I'm going to kill her one day. Shay patted his arm. You say that, but you won't. Before anyone could respond, the entire structure trembled. A deep, rumbling sound echoed through the cavern. Shay yelped. What's happening? Shizuku's eyes widened. The volcano, it's activating. Hajime clicked his tongue. Damn it. Just when things were wrapping up. Lava began to bubble violently, the temperature spiking. The ground cracked, molten rock seeping through the fissures. Rimuru sighed. Well, that's annoying, with a snap of his fingers. Everything froze. The bubbling lava solidified in an instant, the molten rivers turning into solid black stone. The temperature dropped back to normal, as if the volcano had never been a threat at all. Everyone stared at Rimuru. Hajime rubbed his temples. You just fixed a volcanic eruption, with a snap of your fingers. Rimuru smirked. Element bending. Simple stuff. Shizuku let out a breath. You're ridiculous. Shay pouted. Show off. Tio moaned. Ah, my master's power knows no bounds. My heart races at the thought of what else those fingers can do. Hajime pinched the bridge of his nose. Tio, shut up. Rimuru chuckled. All right, enough messing around. Let's head back. We have a city to cure. Hajime sighed. Yeah. Let's get moving. Shay clenched her fists. Elena, Kaori, Myu, Lilith, they're waiting for us. Yu nodded. Let's go. Tio moaned again. Ah, my mistresses await, and my precious princesses, Lilith and Myu, long for their master's return. Rimuru smirked. Yeah. Let's go see my daughter. Hajime deadpanned. You mean daughters? Rimuru chuckled. Sure, Uncle Hajime. Hajime twitched. Don't call me that. With that, they stepped forward, leaving the labyrinth behind, heading toward Ankaji, where their loved ones waited. == TOB continues ==